Um, yeah, the trees are just starting to bloom. The cherry blossoms are coming out. It's beautiful.
Yeah, did you see the cherry blossoms? They're so pretty.
They are, right? And I don't know, I know you guys, most of you are remote, but the school actually has these beautiful cherry blossom trees outside, which they just like suddenly appear, like they suddenly start to bloom, and they did that like about a week ago. And you just see this like huge like bits of pink outside the school building, and they're still there actually. It looks really pretty. Um, so yeah, I don't know where else are there cherry blossoms. Brooklyn Botanical Garden obviously has a lot of trees. I think downtown Brooklyn there's some cherry trees. I don't know where else there are in Brooklyn. I don't think there's any around Coney Island that I can think of. Anyway, that's enough about trees. This is not living environment. This is English. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing good. If you can just write present in the chat. I'm going to go over today the final assignment of this unit, which is on analyzing a piece of rhetoric. And I thought it might be a good thing to do to actually go through an example together. So we're going to do an example together of a piece of rhetorical analysis, and I have an example. So you guys are going to help me actually write it. And just a reminder that the marking period ends on Friday. Today is Wednesday. That's only 2 more days. Oh my God. And you know, your grades have to be in by Friday. Sorry, your assignments have to be in by Friday. Anything you don't hand in, right? It's a 55. We've only had 6 assignments this marking period. So if you don't give in one assignment, that's, what is that? Almost 20% of your grade gone right there. So try and do as many as you can. But if you are stuck on this week's one, which is 5.6, that's what we're going to go through today. And just to say before we get started, there are, as you probably know, if you change to fully to blended learning, you're going to come in on Monday into the school building. So it would be nice to see you. I know a couple of you changed. All right. Any questions before we begin? Okay. Let me just share my screen. So I'm going to go through, as I said, an example of a piece of analysis, and you guys are going to actually help me write this. Okay, so you guys can see my screen? Someone say yes?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so on the screen, you should see this ad. Okay, and if you can't read this writing, let me just read it for you. Mom, I want you to stop smoking because I don't want you to die, because you're like the best mom I've had. And it says at the bottom, and because I would be really sad. All right, so what I want us to start off with, whenever you're starting a piece of analysis of rhetoric, you're going to start with speaker, audience, purpose. So I want you to write in the chat, and you can write down all three. You can write down just one, who you think the speaker is. You can write down the audience, as many as you want. Just to say, when you're thinking about speaker, this ad, you can't really see on the bottom right, was actually produced by the Indonesian Health Authority. This is actually an Indonesian ad. It's called the Committee Nasional. So let's take a few minutes while people are arriving to write down in the chat what you think, who you think the speaker is, or who you think the audience for this particular ad is, or what do you think the purpose of this ad is. All right, let's take 3 minutes. If you just come, you should be able to see my screen. And we're just trying to analyze this ad together. And to start off with, we're going to analyze the speaker, audience, and purpose. So you can choose just one of those, or two or three, however many you want to do, and try and analyze what is going on here. Who's the speaker here? What's the audience for this ad? And what's the purpose of this ad? And we'll take another 2 minutes. All right, 1 minute left. See a lot of good answers here. All right. So just looking at your replies here, Melissa actually has it exactly right. So, Melissa, can you just talk us through your answers here? Why do you say that the speaker is this health authority of Indonesia?
The speaker is the health authority because you can see it's on the bottom. The company logo is in there, but the child is not the one talking because he's not the one that made the ad. The company did, and the audience, it's for the audience of parents because it says mom, and so parents consider the purpose is so parents think about the children and they don't have to smoke anymore because it's affecting the children in a negative way.
Yeah, absolutely, right? This first line of this ad, Mom, I want you to stop smoking. So, you might think, well, this is directed at everybody, okay? Um, or maybe it's to stop kids from smoking. But, if it says, Mom, I want you to stop smoking, it's clear, as Melissa says, that the audience is um, moms or maybe just parents who smoke, right? Because the purpose of this is to obviously to stop people from smoking, but to more focused than that, to stop parents from smoking, right? Um, and the speaker, we may say, well, the speaker is this child, right? But when we talk about rhetoric and we talk about the speaker of a piece of rhetoric, what we really mean is who is behind the ad? Who has made the ad? Now, you may think, well, this looks like these words are coming from this kid, but the people behind this ad are, as I wrote in the notes here, the health authority of Indonesia. They're the ones who want who want parents to stop smoking, right? So when we're writing our piece of rhetorical analysis, okay, I'm actually going to do this right now, right? So you want to start off, you might just start by saying in the Indonesian ads, right? Because this is from Indonesia. The country's health authority, that's the speaker, attempts to persuade parents, am I right here? I could write moms, to stop smoking because, and then I might just, you could just leave it at that, but I'm going to put a reason in because of the harmful effects it has on, let's just say, others. Okay, so in one sentence there, I've said what the speaker is, I said who the audience is, and I've said what the purpose is here, what the message is. So when you're writing your piece of analysis, that's how you want to start. Okay. All right, let's go on and think now. The next thing we really want to do is think about which rhetorical strategy do we see being used? And if we remember, the rhetorical strategies are ethos, pathos, and logos. So if you can just write in the chat whether you think you see ethos or pathos or logos, let's take a couple of minutes. And maybe I'll just read this out again for people who've just arrived. We have this, as we just saw, it's an anti-smoking ad directed at parents or mums, and it says, "Mum, I want you to stop smoking because I don't want you to die, because you're like the best mum I've had, because I would be really sad." And then on the right-hand side, we see this image of this cigarette. It says, "How long can you live?" So the question is this ad using ethos, pathos, logos, or maybe more than one of those? Let's take another minute. Okay, let's see. Marcus, why did you choose pathos? Marcus, you there?
Oh yeah. I chose pathos because um it seems like it uses emotions. It seems like it uses like a child who would be sad if his mother if something happened to his mother because she was smoking.
Right, yeah, good. Definitely pathos here, right? Especially that bit at the bottom where it says, because I would be really sad. Is there any other? I think pretty much everyone has said pathos, which is obviously correct, and it's the most obvious one. I'm just wondering if there's another rhetorical device that's used here. What about what's going on the right?
Maybe a little bit of logos since the cigarette you can't really see it well, but it's like a measuring, and I think it says how long can you live. And I think those are the ears.
Yeah, very good, right? So on the right-hand side, as Melissa says, we see this, and you can't really see it very well, but it's actually years. So at the top there actually says 60, and then it counts down 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So we have this cigarette that starts burning down at 60. So this, as Melissa says, this is an example of logos because we're actually getting some facts here. Although we're not getting it as a specific statistic, right? It doesn't say you're going to die at 52 if you keep smoking. We can infer that it's giving us some facts about how long you're going to live if you keep smoking. And as Simone, yeah, Simone, you also make a good point, because the kid explains why when he says, because I don't want you to die. Yeah, because logos can also be when you're giving a reason or when you're giving an argument about something as well. Good point. Okay, so, right, I'm going to write this down now. So I've done my speaker audience purpose, and now my next part, I'm going to start with pathos, right? The ad uses pathos to advance the rhetorical appeal. Now, obviously, you don't have to write exactly the kind of thing that I'm writing here, but this is just to give you an idea about how you could say it. So we say pathos, and now we're going to need an example. For example, now, if your piece of rhetoric doesn't have any text to it or doesn't have a lot of text, the example you can use is, maybe it's music if it's an ad, right? Pathos sometimes makes us feel happy. So if the ad is using a lot of music, you can talk about the music here. Or you can talk about the colors, right? Coca-Cola ads. They're always like everything's bright and green and sunny and the world looks beautiful, right? Talk about that. But we have some words here, so I'm going to discuss the words. For example, in the ad, we see a young boy. So I'm just describing what I see here. Who says, if I can spell, and then mom. I think this might be, it's weird that they spell mum like that. Maybe they spell mum like that in Indonesia. That's how we actually spell mum in England as well. I want you to stop. And then I would actually, I'm not going to copy out the whole quote here, but I would actually copy out the whole of this quote, right? Mum, I want you to stop smoking because I don't want you to die, because you're the best mum I've had, because I'd be really sad. So I'd copy out this whole quote, right? Got quote marks on the end. And then I've got to explain this, right? So let's say something like, this attempts to persuade by making parents feel guilty. A lot of ads work by really just playing on that emotion of guilt, right? If you keep smoking, then you're going to die and your child is not going to have any parent left. Feel guilty about the consequences of their behavior on their children. Right? No parent, I might just add here, wants to make, well, hardly any parent, wants to make their child feel sad. Okay. And then we could add, if there's another rhetorical device used, and as Melissa says correctly, it does have logos here. The ad uses logos. This is shown in, and then I might just talk about the image, right, that we see. God, I really can't spell today. In the image of the cigarette burning down. So I'm just describing what's happening in the image. Next to the words, how long can you live? The viewer is presented visually. We're not using words so much here, with the facts, because it's logos, it's a fact that smoking decreases life expectancy. All right, so there we go. We've got two rhetorical strategies, and I've said what those rhetorical strategies are. I've explained them a little bit as well. All right, so that's the second part. And now, kind of the last part of this piece of analysis, evaluation, is thinking about, did you find this ad effective? And by effective, I mean, did it persuade you, or would it persuade you? And really, you can just write yes or no here. Would this persuade you if you were a parent to stop smoking? So you can just write in the chat yes or no. Interested to hear what you think about it. And we'll just take a minute or so. Would this ad be effective in persuading parents to stop smoking? If you were a parent, would it persuade you to stop smoking? So I'm seeing a lot of everybody saying yes. Yeah, I think this is pretty effective, right? Nathan, why do you think this is effective? If Nathan can hear me. Or Khalid, whoever, Marcus, Khalid, Ashley. Why do you think this is effective as a piece of rhetoric? Any ideas?
I think it's effective because it could probably encourage moms with little children to quit smoking because they would like want to be there for their children the as long as they can. So they would probably they would probably consider quitting smoking after seeing this.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this ad is, you see a lot of, anti-smoking ads have been around since probably the 1960s, 1970s, like 40, 50 years or something. But most ads you see, anti-smoking ads, it's really targeted at people in the ads, right, to stop smoking. But this ad is kind of interesting because, oh, sorry. This ad's kind of interesting because it's not trying to stop, it's not trying to convey its best message by telling people to stop. It's trying to convey the message by showing the effects of smoking on other people rather than you, right? It's not talking about, well, mum, this is what's going to happen to you if you stop smoking. It's like, mum, this is what's going to happen to me if I stop smoking.
Can I add on?
Yeah, of course.
I also wanted to say that like in most ads they use adults, and for this one they actually use a kid. And like I think using a kid is gonna make like adults like think that children children see what's happening and they could be influenced by it. So.
Very much so. And what I think is kind of interesting about this ad is where it says, because you're like the best mom I've had. It's like, I don't know, if I said to my mom that she was the best mom, she would probably start crying or something, right? Because every mom wants to be told that they're the best mom in the world, right? So that just adds, I think, a little bit to the rhetorical appeal, right? I don't know how your mum would say if you said to her, you're the best mum in the world. But if I said that to my mum, she would probably start crying. She would hopefully send me gifts. I don't know. But so let's try and think about how we'd put this together. This is kind of like the end of our paragraph here, right? So let's say I'm going to start by just saying the ad is effective, right? Because deals, it deals with the issue of smoking in an interesting way, right? So as I just said, a lot of cigarette anti-smoking ads, it's all about, what might happen to you. But in this ad, it's all about what might happen to other people, right? And that maybe makes it more effective, because many parents probably already know about the effects of smoking. Right? But in this ad, we see the effects on other people, and that might be more powerful. Right? The thing about smoking ads have been around for anti-smoking ads have been around for a long time. So, you got to think, well, if I really want my message to hit home, I'm going to have to make it original in some way. Smoking is also a serious issue, you know. One of the things we might want to think about is the fact that smoking is serious, that if you want to convince people to stop in some way, it's something you got to think about, right? So I might say something like, smoking is a serious issue, so to convince people, so I can't spell, to stop, the aim of this rhetorical appeal is to provoke a strong reaction, right? You see a lot of ads like this where it's not so much about what the words are saying, it's kind of like trying to shock you in some ways. Okay, and then I could add stuff, you know, the speaker is the child here, that kind of makes it more, maybe more effective in some way. And then the last thing you might want to add is, how could the ad have been made more effective? The ads could have been more effective. And then how could we make this ad more effective? Let's go back to it. How could we make this more powerful, this ad? What could we add?
I think maybe it could have added the shadow of the mom behind the boy smoking, so we can see what the boy is looking in front of him.
Yeah, so yeah, that'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? If you could see that behind, like, then it kind of makes it real that this kid has a mother and we can't really see her. So there's something that you could add visually to this image as well, right? One thing I was thinking of, maybe we could have some kind of statistic that shows how many kids had lost parents, for example. Maybe that would make it more effective as well. You know, add a little bit more logos to it. Could add some ethos in some way. Maybe someone saying what happened to them, right? So when you were putting all this together, you know, I can just copy and paste this. Actually, let me do this one first. And really, when you're doing your analysis, you're really just doing these 3 parts and putting it all together into one paragraph. So I've got my speaker audience purpose, got my stuff about rhetorical strategies which are used. Put that in here. And then right at the bottom, I'm going to add how effective this ad was. How could I have made it more effective? Or how could it have been made more effective? I don't think this is all going to fit on. You can see it on the screen there. All right, and that's all really you're doing with this rhetorical analysis, right? You're just breaking it down into those 3 kind of separate elements, and putting all that into a paragraph. All right, so if you're stuck with this, okay, maybe you want to take a picture of this or screenshot this screen so you can see the kind of way to lay out your analysis. But really, that's all you have to do. It's just 1 paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs. If you've got a very complicated ad, you might want to talk about how it's using more than 1 rhetorical strategy. Think about how effective it is. Right? Use evidence from the ad. Could be visual evidence, could be some sounds, or it could be some words. Any questions? Or anybody still stuck? Everyone's good. So does that mean everyone here is going to hand in their assignment by Friday? Easy.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So those of you who are going to be in school tomorrow, we will finish this assignment in class. If you're remote and you still need some help with your particular piece of analysis, or if you haven't chosen a piece of rhetoric yet, send me a message on chat and we can go over it and I can help you. Otherwise, everybody have a good afternoon, and I'll speak to you soon. Friday, we'll have another meeting on Friday. We'll probably talk about next week. But thanks for coming. Take care, everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Rick.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye, guys.